Hello everyone, and welcome to the Frozen Wasteland, which I admit is a bit of a change from the Never kind of series that I've done before. You may be wondering, given that you can see QLab over there, what has happened to Aniver? Apologies for the really low FPS, apparently this region really takes a toll on me. Aniver has a bit of a save bug, which is that there is something inside of my main area, which is also where I happen to be positioned and where I spawn, that causes the game to crash completely once I actually boot up the save. Consequently, I can't really play it, and I have tried a few different ways and a few different methods of resolving that issue, to no avail. In fact, one rather hilariously turned all of my force fields into pumpkin seeds. I don't know why, but it did. But what we have here, as we were just approaching it there, is Carpenter Station, which is on the same server as Dave Chaos, Gar, YZ, Dragonhat, Nipty, all the other guys. And I figured I would hang around here. Oh, finally, Blizzard's cleared up a bit. Although the place is still pretty foggy. You may consider that I'm on tiny render distance with the fog on, and that is absolutely true because it is a purposeful choice. In order to, among other things, make sure that the place seems that bit more desolate. But what we have over here is Carpenter Station. And perhaps true to fashion, true to fashion for everyone else on the server, I've begun the place with a nicely built house. Although Carpenter Station still has very bare fittings and not much in the way of furniture, but hey, maybe we'll fix that as we go along. So, let's see, the architecture of Carpenter Station, if you haven't guessed it already, I certainly would be able to from seeing the outside here, is based on the... is based on the Arctic research station called Outpost 31 from John Carpenter's movie The Thing. So it's kind of interesting to wander around here and see all the different places, like this right-hand entrance here is where they locked out MacCready, and then he broke in through a window in the supply room, which has nothing in it at the moment besides torches. There's Gary's office. That leads to an arched metal building, which I haven't constructed yet, and I'm also not sure what it was for in the movie, because I don't have the DVDs with me right now. The basement level, where they had the final battle. Recreation room where everyone hung out and they had the big test of who was a thing and who wasn't. There's a few unused rooms, according to the available maps that I can work out, which is going to be very useful for us, because we can put whatever we like in them, more or less. The sleeping quarters, where perhaps rather interestingly, I am in this room. This room, according to most of the fan interpretations, is where the first assimilation with the Thing goes on. Not quite dark just yet. And these two are two conjoined rooms which are never actually seen in the course of the movie, so we don't actually know what happens to them, so I've turned this one into a sort of workshop. That room over there is where I plan to put probably the main building, the main construction mechanism for this series. And I should probably explain what I plan to do here, shouldn't I? Well, you can see I have in my inventory here a Philosopher's Stone, which we're probably very, very familiar with from Aniver, as well as almost every other series on Tekkit, but this is more or less the only piece of magic I'm going to try and use. Ideally, I would like to find a way to not use it, but unfortunately, yeah, that's a bit tricky. Which is, Aniver, being in the Nether, was very, very magic-oriented, because there was more or less no other way to survive. Carpenter, on the other hand, I want to be as desolate and horrifying, well, maybe not horrifying, ideally, looks awesome on the minimap, by the way, as desolate and hard to survive in as you would expect the Arctic to be. Apparently this is lagging, apparently these FPS is going to do that for me. I hope I've sorted that out by next time, but it may just be the snow. So yeah, we've got the tiny render distance, we've got the fog, we've got the snow and everything. And it's taken me about 2 hours to find a single handful of diamonds. But yeah. But that brings me to my next idea, which is Dave and everyone else has gone on more or less the equivalent exchange route of having condensers and having quarries and all that big stuff. I don't really want to ruin the environment around here. And since I'm not touching magic, you may wonder then how I intend to get a reliable supply of materials like diamonds. Well, diamonds, as it turns out, have a bit of a history. Because as you can see here, you may recognize this symbol from the 5 Ways to Die in Tech It videos, because I've been using it sort of as my logo for that. Ooh, also, Halloween skin. Cyborg scientist. But yeah, the industrial diamond is part of an old recipe. It's now the recipe for it now just defaults to diamond. But if you take coal and turn it into coal dust, and then you surround the coal dust, if I can, yeah, that's the one, around a piece of flint, and you then compress it into a compressed coal ball, and then you mix that in with a piece of obsidian into a coal chunk, and then mix that into a compressor, it will create a diamond. It used to create just an industrial diamond, now it just actually just hands-on creates a actual diamond. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start trying to use, well, I'm going to use the Philosopher's Stone to turn charcoal into coal, because you can't do it the other way. I'm going to compress the coal. Well, I'm going to macerate the coal into the coal dust, and I'm going to do all the different things to create a fully industrial production line for diamonds. Which means an automated tree farm, it means an automated macerating farm, an automated compressing farm, some crafting. It means a lot of stuff that we have to get done. It's going to be very interesting doing it in all of these very, very familiar rooms. And hopefully something doesn't turn up that's going to try and clone my face. So yeah, that's we're trying to avoid things that aren't something from nothing, which is where the tree farms and whatnot come in. But let's just see if we can demonstrate how this is actually done. Now let's see, we need 8 per coal ball, 8 pieces of coal dust, and that compresses into the coal chunk, which we need 8 of, so it's 8 times 8, which is 64. Which I'm lacking. So let's put our Philosopher's Stone to work here. Now I've just been burning wood anyway, so it's not that big a deal. Okay, 50. We may not actually have enough to make a single diamond just yet. So we'll get to work on the rest while I burn some wood. Now the storage room that we just saw isn't fully in operation just yet, because this area's been more or less desolate. In fact, you saw the lighting in the hall. That is legitimately me adding, well, there's these lights which are illuminators, which have a very strange hitbox, but they're also kind of annoying to power. So under these plates here we have a sort of backup lighting, which are just lamps, redstone powered, which means the place looks a lot darker because we don't really have a stable power supply. But we don't get mobs, which is nice, and it means I don't have to use like interdiction torches everywhere, which is good. Okay, so if I, ooh, that's a lot of diamond, that's a lot of iron. Okay, coal into there, and charcoal not into the bat box because I keep making that mistake lately. Into the generator. Okay, and I'll grab a piece of flint. I believe that's in here. Yep. And where do I put all my... yeah, there we are. Dusts and ores. Eventually we'll have like a sorting system going into the underside of the supply room, but for now we just have manual. Oh well, oh hum. Right, so that's another 2 pieces of coal. So let's just put that together. Okay, I'm filming this fairly late at night, and it's very, very cold, but, oh well. Right, so another 8 pieces of charcoal, and we'll have a full stack there. And would you know, there's 8 right there, so we're just waiting on that. And that will get us our coal chunks. That will get us our coal balls, which we will then stick into our compressor over the end here, which will then turn it into the coal chunks. No, the compressed coal balls. There's a lot of long names in this, so I apologize if I continue to get them wrong. Hey, but oh yes, down here is concrete, which you need iron and stone for, which is what the rolling machine is over there for, because it's a part of railcraft. And we have construction foam, which is very tough and blast resistant stuff. So I've had like a creeper blow up on the blow up right next to the wall on the outside, and it's not done a damn thing. Of course, I then have a cobblestone ceiling. I might try and fix that at some point later, but I figured I figured having construction foam for the walls and the ceilings would have been a bit much. But well, it looks nice. It looks like it's been thrown together. It looks like it's here for a reason. Not necessarily a permanent reason, but a reason. Which is sort of the look I was going for. There we go. That's all the coal we're going to need. Oh, and we look like we're almost at our first piece here. Yeah, we just need one more in there. So meanwhile, things have been fairly interesting. You may have noticed on the channel a few videos going up from Technically Evil, which is sort of the server's boogeymen. And they turn up more or less at their whim, but they also turn up on everyone else's channel. So they've shown up on Gar's channel already, with just Lord Gar doing that, and they've now started showing up on mine. Ew, coal ball. Let's take that in the compressor while we're doing things here. Doop. Do we have any more? Yes, we do. How are we doing for power? No, not bad. And so I'm not going to put any more in there until that's running on empty, because I want to save some fuel, because we don't actually have a tree farm set up yet. We're in a forest, but we don't have a tree farm just yet. And I'm thinking there isn't a world anchor here. That's an important thing to note. There is no world anchor here at Carpenter Station, because we're getting some lag issues on the server, which may be contributing to my low FPS right now. I don't know. But we're getting some lag issues, so I'm trying to avoid anything that could potentially cause lag, which means no world anchor. Which means if I start using mining turtles for like want and abandon, then I'm probably going to get them vanishing into nothingness. So I'm probably going to try using block breakers and whatnot for the tree farm. Gar has an interesting setup at his big tree thing that grows for solar panels, ostensibly. But I'm going to try and come up with something by myself. And this appears to have finished. Yep, we have the pixel that is a compressed coal ball. And by the looks of it, I'm going to also need a few more. Yeah, 3 more flint. So, let's see. I don't have a second macerator. Although, I do have a fair few tools down here. So, let's see. We've got just the stuff I started out with, more or less. We've got an iron helmet that dropped from a zombie. A bucket that I used for a infinite water source to make all the construction foam. I don't actually know where that infinite water source went. I know it froze over quite a while ago. Electric tree trap, electric wrench, chainsaw, because I'm in a forest. Although I don't know how long this forest is going to last. Oh god, the frames. Yeah, you can see that. I don't know what's going on. I'm hoping to fix that at some point very soon. But for the moment, we persevere. And yes, winter is settling in. Winter is settling in, he said in the series dedicated to being inside of an Arctic wasteland. Yes, winter is settling in. Unfortunately for me, the radiator in my room still is non-functional, despite many, many claims by the landlord that it is. So my room is now being completely managed by the heater that you can probably hear running in the background. And good god, my frames have dropped quite a bit there. Which you can probably hear in the background, and I'm having to carefully manage that to make sure that my room doesn't burn me alive or freeze me to death. Which is a fantastic thing to think about when you're like already in some significant portions of your course. Like I've been handed a piece of coursework just yesterday for AI, I believe, which requires that I do a presentation, which I am really not good at. I really don't like presentations. Really not a fan. All the people involved. But yeah, there's that. And that's apparently worth about 20% of our marks. As worse as I have to do it as part of a team. Joy. like I said, I don't like to blame things on my Asperger's and my autism and whatnot. These are legitimate circumstances. Common running thread: autistics do not do well with like people in general. So put us in a team, make us do a presentation. Yay! I need an overclocker or 7. Or a rotary macerator. I've got a lot to do. I've got my assortment here of basic machines, but nothing particularly huge. Although I do have this, which I don't think unless you're watching Dragon Hat's videos, I don't think you'll have seen this. This is a canning machine, as it says on the top there. And it's basically used for shoving stuff into other stuff. I have been using it to resupply the CF backpack, which is what I used to build this place. There's an imager library that I shall link in the description here that just sort of shows the process I took on building the place. It sort of jumps around every now and then, but it's a very interesting look. Because I decided I wanted the place to look reasonably, like, realistic, or at least structurally integral. So I used scaffolds, which have some interesting placement properties based on whether or not there's enough support for them. And that let's see if I can whittle this down to 1. Yes, I can. Great. I used scaffolds, and then you can spray construction foam at scaffolds, and they will be replaced, and the construction foam will go nowhere else, which is very handy. So, because it means you can just, like, outline outline a whole building in scaffolds and then just use a CF sprayer. So that's, why I've got the canning machine. It was one of the first machines I had to build for that purpose. Yes, I do have 8, so... This Philosopher's Stone is not going to stay in my inventory for very long, so I'd better make use of it now. Because eventually, I may have to make another one. I'm going to have to stick it into a automated crafting table, a couple of which we have in the kitchen. Yep. So that I can actually start making coal from charcoal. And I understand why that's possible, because the EMCs of coal and charcoal are coal is 4 times charcoal. Unfortunately, there is like very little compatibility between coal recipes and charcoal recipes, so I can't macerate charcoal into coal dust. Which is annoying, but oh well. As I say, we shall persevere. It is the frozen wasteland, and we are people who have strawden through hell with little concern. So, we shall persevere. And actually, while that's macerating, I'm going to go see if I can find some lava. Because we've only got about 9 minutes left here, so, one thing I'm going to need to do is to upgrade my drill here, because I need a piece of obsidian. And that's going to require this. I could make a block breaker, but that would take even more time, and it's the lengthy episodes. I'm trying to keep this episode at the very least a bit on the low side. Did we leave some of this charcoal burning? No, we didn't. Okay, let's put 2 in here and 20 pieces of wood, because an iron furnace will burn... Yep. Will burn 10 objects for the cost of 8. And we'll stick the rest of this charcoal that we have at the moment into... Yep, that was the sound of the macerator running low. Into here. As I say, we don't have a particularly powerful... we don't have a particularly stable power source at the moment. We could potentially move to solar, but with the snowstorms that happen around here, that's probably not going to last very long. In fact, I contemplated having solar panels above these lights, but oh joy. Where did you come from? Oh, he dropped us an iron bar. How handy. This is where I found out something like there's a creeper running around the place, isn't it? That's interesting. I don't know how he managed to get in here. Let's check our... Let's see... Block light 9... 10... That's interesting. Did I leave a door open somewhere? Yeah. Well, this place ain't safe. Or at least it isn't safe yet. Of course, we can't use interdiction torches, so we may have to start looking into Tesla coils. But at least he gave us a bit of iron. I'm not sure how he got in. But, oh well. Let's see... resources. There we go. Yeah, I had to go on a huge long mining trip to get the diamonds. Oh yes, which is why I'm doing this. Right. I need the bucket. Because I haven't seen anywhere where water and lava meet. Good, that's charged. Let's head down the basement. I'm still having a little bit of navigation trouble, because of course this isn't a building I designed, it's just one I built. And the rooms... I have to say, this place is a heck of a lot bigger than the movie makes it look a lot of the time. But, okay, I believe there is lava down this way. Yep. Sounds like there's also skeletons. Aha, there's water. Perfect. Yeah, it's being used for that. But that's no problem, I'll grab a piece of lava and I'll bring it over here. I've already explored a fair bit of these caves. Not all of them. And there's quite a few resources. There's a lot, like a staggering volume of copper. Which would be fine if it wasn't almost exclusively used for low power things. Yeah, closer. There we go, there it is. Okay, so we only need the one for this purpose, but that's fine. Yeah, still a lot of coal, still a lot of copper. And the coal is going to give us a hand. But, yeah, we're not taking the route out. We're not going out my old route here. Because there was, as the imager library shows, there was a smaller hut. Made from more or less any material I had to hand. I think it was in the Littlewood recently that said, there's skill to playing Minecraft, and then there's skill to playing Minecraft with lag. We go up here. Did we? I think we do. Have I walked blithely right past the water? I think I have. There it is. Now you know it. Now you know how late it is. And if we just stick this here. Yep, piece of obsidian. So I'll just stand here wailing at it with my diamond drill. Whoop, no, obsidian, come back. There you are. Right, don't want to lose that again, because that was not a lava pool, so we only have the one lava source. The obsidian is going to be interesting to make into this automated process, because there's a few different alternatives for using to get the coal chunks that you can compress into diamonds. You can use obsidian, you can use bricks, and you can use an iron block. Basically, obsidian, at least EMC-wise, is the cheapest. I would say it's the easiest to manufacture as well. But you need lava. Lava is non-renewable. He's just glitching through the floor. We don't have to worry about him. Yeah, there's a few there's a few open spaces underneath the building, the main building, but not a problem. Is this out of power, or is it? Yeah, it's out of power. But that's why we left this running. Okay, so I have sticky keys. There we go. I keep trying to put it there. I don't know why. But that's what the auto shift does. Okay, so yeah, we've got our obsidian, which we surround in our compressed coal balls to make a coal chunk, and then we compress that. Now, of course, obsidian and lava... Well, lava is non-renewable, but clay, which it arguably comes in larger volumes, is also non-renewable, if you're not using magic. And the same with iron. Iron is actually fairly important for us. So, obsidian is going to be an interesting thing to work around. Maybe we can start pumping it in from the nether. I don't know. I'd rather not pump it in from the nether. I mean, there's enough problems there. But hey, that's a project I don't think anyone on the server's done just yet. So that would be interesting. Although we're a fair distance from everyone else. And let's see. The desert that they're building the prison in is 11,000 away. Whitey's house is 850. Pinky is nearly 1,000. We're a fair distance away. But, the Nether in multiplayer is, for want of a better term, very compressed. So, there's a spider glitch into my bat box. Okay then, that's an interesting one. But yeah, I don't know how far away we'll be from everyone in the Nether. But that I think is something to consider next time. Because we're getting on about 20-25 minutes here now, so I'm going to call it a day or a night, as the case may be, and I will catch you next time, where we compress our first cobble chunk into a diamond and get to work on some machinery. So, catch you next time.